Queen of Holes by C.S.R.
Chapter 3, Jailbreak. Just kidding. After all this stupid goody-goody stuff, I hope things will finally have a change of pace now that Christian's going to be out of prison. I'm not looking for criminal activity or anything, just a difference from all this calm peace crap. Although, I suppose, I'm getting too old at this point. I really need to settle down with a mate and have cubs, or I'm going to die of old age by the time my children are still toddlers. I guess before I tell her how I feel, I could do something crazy for one last time. Gurglite. Like she's going to like me back. I should just look for someone else. I can't stop staring at her beautiful purple eyes. Well, since I can only see 1 out of 13. And I can't stop thinking about what her scaly skin must feel like, and her wavy blonde hair. I just want to stroke it out of her face and stare at her all day. Dear 3, I sound like I belong in some stupid romance or something.
Fafalor!
Howland's irritating voice rang in my ear, bringing me back to the real world.
See tomorrow morning, Reach?
I rolled my eyes as I answered. Yes, that's why we're meeting tonight.
Can I? 'Cause I can't gone.
I paused for a moment to think about what the idiot just said to me in its thick accent, as I knew canny was its slang term for good. Well, I guess you shouldn't go anyway, since you don't really know Christian.
Can I? I'm not gannon at all.
Why the Boulder's Pit did this idiot need to waste my time on these stupid questions for nothing?
A toast.
I raised my mug. For tomorrow morning, we're going to break the mighty Christian out of jail. Howland started coughing up all the beer in its mouth.
What?
Howland was trying to catch its breath in its frantic manner.
I thought he was being released from prison. You lads are breaking the mute?
Yep. I decided this would be too fun to fuck with it. He gets out next week, so we're breaking him out early so he gets more time added to his sentence. Who needs that person out of jail? And out early on good behavior, nonetheless. How shameful to our criminal record.
Fafalor.
Darlene broke into the conversation with her bewitching voice. I'm just playing.
Yes, I know. And you should be ashamed of yourself, lying about what the jailbreak is really about. We all figured out that Kristen is lying about the early release, so when we get there, we'll have no choice but to break him out in the awkwardness of our embarrassment.
Exactly. You figured us out. I laughed in a cool manner as I shot her a wink. Javis decided to spoil our fun as he cut his own words in and said,
This all better be a joke. Ladies and gentlemen, and those who are neither gender, I'm not getting in trouble with the law, especially not with the speculations and my reputation.
And what do you mean by that?
Marla giggled as she sipped her juice. I was so embarrassed that we couldn't sit at the bar because we had a kid with us. Why can't she just drink alcohol? No one would even want to take advantage of the little jippo.
Oh, you know, sweet bird.
Javis went off in his flirtatious tone.
All those gents that are jealous of the ladies that I've wooed, they all want to blackmail me, especially under false pretenses.
It really made me feel a sense of repulse that he flirted with Marla. She's so young, and he's like an old man. It's just weird. At least he didn't say crude or sexual things to her, but it was still weird how he'd go about like he was trying to court her, even though she was a teen. It makes me shiver. Darlene rolled her eyes as she responded.
No one needs false pretenses to blackmail you. I'm sure that even a quarter of the gurglite you've actually done is enough to get you life.
I loved her
I'm
spunk.
surprised neither of you are in prison with him.
And though it could hurt or sting, I loved her honesty, too.
And I don't want you to forget
She suddenly turned toward me.
that Kristen is no longer delving into criminal activity. If either of you guys do something illegal, I will report you to the authorities without a second thought. Understand?
Make me, I said, trying to sound flirty, only to realize I probably came off sounding like a rebellious person to her.
Do not make me break your horn off, bird brain.
Yeah, I got it. Jeez, woman, learn to take a joke for once. I couldn't let her see me fail at trying to tease her, so I just kept the perpsin act up. Like I cared if she saw me that way. I am a perpsin. Always will be. I just hope that I can be a perpsin she would want to settle down with. As if. She's too much of an upstanding citizen to want to be with a low-life nobody like me. And that's fine. I can deal with that.
Father?
Marla's voice snapped me back into reality with a tint of concern in it.
What?
Are you alright?
I just glared at her. She should know better at this point than to ask me those kinds of stupid questions. It's not like we're friends. I just kept a watchful eye on her for Christian. That's all. Or so I kept telling myself. Her goody-good crap is confusing me.
I awoke happily this morning with the thought that I was finally allowed to remove the frustrating prison garbs. Any set of clothing is vexing for me, and I hate having to do such stupid and pointless things as wear them. I honestly have no reason for clothes with my imperishable skin and lack of external genitalia. It wasn't indecent if I didn't wear them, nor was it necessary for me to wear clothes. So, after years of being forced to, I was relieved that I was free of that prison. And then, as an hour passed thinking about my freedom from clothes, I took time to bask in my freedom from the real prison in general. I was leaving this place a new man, a new life I would start, and I wouldn't mess it up this time. But I would have to force Marla to make sure to keep an eye on my actions, as to make sure I don't slip up. She did owe me, after all. I went to prison for her in the first place. It was either there, or a pit of despair and guilt. I guess that being in prison was actually helpful for my mental state, in the sense that my guilt has been slightly diminished. I found something close to closure, and then I knew better social skills. Marla would have to help me with socializing as well. She owed me, after all. I did go through the first few hours of my morning as I went through the paperwork and meetings, worried that Marla and the rest would be late or keep me waiting. I thought if that was the case, I'd get so upset thinking they abandoned me or forgotten like fair-weather friends. So it was much to my surprise that when I went outside to be picked up, I saw Marla, Jarvis, Fafalor, and even Darlene waiting for me as though they'd been waiting there for hours. They were holding signs with my name on it as though they were picking me up from an airport, an experience which I haven't had to face.
Kristen!
Marla snapped her body in my direction as she bounced in place for a few milliseconds. Without warning, she ran to me, as I was still in my small form, and hugged me tightly.
Have you been good?
I asked jokingly as we backed up, still holding each other in our arms. I took a look at her outfit. She was dressed so cutely, and very similarly to the day we first met. She had a pink summer dress on, despite it being fall, and red shoes just like all those years ago. The only difference was the actual style of the dress and the fact she was wearing a nice red jacket over the outfit. I had come to notice that she was always wearing long sleeves or gloves whenever she visited me, and when I asked Fafalor if she dressed like that outside of visiting me, he told me she did.
Yes, sir.
She chirped cheerfully.
With you as my role model, how could I not?
You're being serious?
Of course! What you've been doing is so commendable. How many people involved in a homicide turn themselves in? And on top of that, you got out early because you were showing immense signs of improvement. I'm proud of you, Kristen.
It's amazing that you're still here in Utrecht Esma at the age you are, child. But I'm glad I was released just in time so I could spend one of your birthdays with you, especially the one that marks your entry into adulthood.
Fafalor interrupted our conversation as he said,
We're getting her wasted for her birthday. She'll never want to drink again.
He was wearing sunglasses, and my guess was that it was so he wasn't identifiable and because he had some sort of hangover.
Are you hiding a hangover under those shades?
Fafalor did his usual gesture that meant yes, but that he didn't want to actually admit it.
You were excessively drinking the night before you got up early. Why would you do that?
I wasn't planning on it. I was challenged by Darlene to a drinking contest.
Oh.
I knew how he felt about that dame. He tried to pretend like it wasn't obvious and probably thought that no one knew, but I'm sure everyone but her caught on.
And I'm guessing either she had better endurance or you let her win.
Was the only noise that Fafalor could manage to make out. He wasn't too keen on admitting things, not even to himself. Marla, who was now standing next to me, took my hand and asked,
So, shall we be making our way on to the next chapter?
I smiled and nodded in response.